The summer stretched before them, languid and unyielding, like a never-ending dream that teetered on the edge of a nightmare. A symphony of boredom, punctuated only by the drone of cicadas, filled the air. Days bled into each other, each one a mirror of the last, with nothing to break the monotony. The old house stood at the edge of town, shrouded in overgrown ivy and whispered rumors. It was a relic of a forgotten time, a place where stories of ghosts and hidden treasures intertwined. For Jake, Emily, Ben and Chloe, it was a beacon in the monotony. A place that promised adventure and a break from the endless summer days. A place of daring, a stage for their restlessness. They had heard the stories, the whispers of strange noises and ghostly apparitions, but that only fueled their curiosity.
We should go closer. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? It's just an old house, right?
They dared each other to venture closer, their laughter a fragile shield against the unsettling silence that emanated from the house. Each step forward was a test of their bravery. The air grew heavy as they approached, the sunlight struggling to penetrate the dense canopy of leaves. Shadows danced on the ground, creating an eerie atmosphere. A shiver ran down Emily's spine, though she couldn't tell if it was from the sudden chill or a creeping premonition. The house seemed to watch them, its windows like dark, unblinking eyes.
I don't know, Jake. This place gives me the creeps. It feels like we're being watched.
They circled the house, each window a dark, watchful eye. The walls seemed to whisper secrets, tales of those who had come before and never left. The back door creaked open with a groan, as if inviting them into the belly of a sleeping beast. The sound echoed in the stillness, amplifying their unease.
Come on, Emily, it's just an old house. There's nothing to be afraid of. Let's see what's inside.
They stepped inside, the floorboards groaning in protest. The dim light barely illuminated the room, casting long shadows that seemed to move on their own. The air was thick with the smell of dust and decay, the silence heavy and absolute. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling, and the furniture was covered in a thick layer of dust. It was Ben who first noticed the trapdoor, hidden beneath a moth-eaten rug in what was once a parlor. His heart raced with a mix of fear and excitement. Curiosity, that insatiable beast, gnawed at their courage. They exchanged nervous glances, each one wondering what lay beneath. They knew they shouldn't, but the lure of the unknown was too strong to resist. The trapdoor beckoned, promising secrets and perhaps answers to the mysteries that surrounded the house. With trembling hands, they lifted the trapdoor, revealing a dark, narrow staircase that descended into the unknown. The air grew colder, and the sense of foreboding intensified. One by one, they descended into the darkness, their footsteps echoing in the confined space. The walls seemed to close in around them, and the air was thick with anticipation. At the bottom, they found a hidden room filled with old artifacts and forgotten memories. Dust-covered books lined the shelves, and strange symbols were etched into the walls. As they explored the room, they began to uncover the secrets of the past. Each artifact told a story, each symbol a clue to the house's dark history. The gravity of their discovery began to sink in. This was no ordinary house. It was a place where the past and present collided, where the line between reality and legend blurred. With a newfound respect for the house and its mysteries, they decided it was time to leave. The summer of empty promises had given them more than they had bargained for. As they walked away from the house, they felt a sense of closure. The adventure had changed them, leaving them with memories that would last a lifetime. The sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the landscape. The house stood silent, its secrets once again hidden, waiting for the next group of curious souls to uncover them. The attic was a tomb of forgotten memories, a place where time seemed to stand still, preserving the echoes of lives long past. Cobwebs draped the rafters like macabre decorations, and dust lay thick upon every surface, a testament to years of neglect and abandonment. A single dusty window cast a pale, anemic light into the gloom, illuminating the forgotten objects that lay scattered about, each with its own untold story. The air was heavy, thick with the weight of secrets long kept, secrets that seemed to whisper just beyond the edge of hearing.
Look at this place. It's like a scene from a horror movie. Every corner seems to hide a shadow, Every creak of the floorboards, a ghostly footstep.
They moved cautiously, their whispers echoing strangely in the stillness, as if the very walls were listening. It was Chloe who stumbled upon the book, tucked away in a cobweb-laden corner, its presence almost demanding to be found. Bound in ancient leather, its pages brittle with age, the book seemed to pulse with an unnatural energy as if it were alive. Its title, barely visible beneath a layer of grime, sent a shiver down their spines. The Whispering Game. The name alone conjured images of dark rituals and forbidden knowledge.
Guys, you need to see this. It's called the Whispering Game. What do you think it is? Some kind of old parlor game?
Intrigued and more than a little apprehensive, they gathered around the book, their curiosity piqued by its mysterious aura. Its pages whispered open, revealing faded ink and strange diagrams, each symbol a piece of a puzzle they were eager to solve. The writing was archaic, almost alien, but the instructions were clear. It was a game, but not one they had ever encountered before. A game played in the dark, fueled by secrets whispered in the dead of night. The rules were simple, yet the implications were profound. The thrill of the forbidden ignited a spark in their veins. They were drawn to it, unable to resist the allure of the unknown. They were young, invincible, or so they believed. The idea of danger was thrilling, not something to be feared.
A game? It seems harmless enough. Just a bit of fun to pass the time, right?
A way to break the monotony, to add a spark of excitement to their otherwise mundane lives, to taste the forbidden fruit of fear, to dance on the edge of danger. They were about to learn, however, that some doors are best left unopened, for the darkness beyond holds terrors beyond human comprehension. The shadows seemed to move of their own accord, hinting at the lurking terrors that awaited them. The game had begun, and there was no turning back. They chose the parlor, its darkness now seeming less oppressive than inviting. A single candle flickered on the dusty floor, casting grotesque shadows that danced to the rhythm of their quickening breaths. The book lay open, its pages illuminated by the flickering candlelight. The air crackled with nervous energy as they huddled together, their faces pale in the dim light.
All right, let's do this. Follow the instructions exactly.
The instructions were specific. Each step a descent into the ritualistic heart of the game. A circle of salt, whispered words, a secret offered to the darkness. They followed each instruction with a solemnity that belied their youthful arrogance. They were no longer bored teenagers seeking a thrill. They were disciples, unwittingly preparing an altar for an ancient evil.
This is getting really creepy.
The candle sputtered, casting grotesque shapes on the walls. Their laughter, once carefree, now rang hollow, tinged with a fear they couldn't quite name.
I don't know, guys. This doesn't feel right.
Emily, usually the bravest of the group, felt a knot of dread tightening in her stomach. The air had grown thick, heavy, as if a weight had settled upon her chest. She tried to speak, to voice her growing unease, but the words died in her throat. It was too late to turn back. They were in too deep. The game began simply enough, a harmless diversion to pass the time on a stormy night. They gathered in a circle, the flickering candlelight casting long shadows on the walls. Each of them whispered a secret, their voices barely audible above the pounding of their hearts. The room was filled with an eerie silence, broken only by the occasional creak of the old house settling. Innocent transgressions at first, whispered fears, and long-held desires. They spoke of childhood mischief, unspoken crushes, and dreams that had never seen the light of day. But as the game progressed, the secrets grew darker, laced with a desperation that stained the air. The atmosphere became heavy, as if the very walls were absorbing their confessions.
I once stole money from my mom's purse. The words hung in the air, a tangible weight that seemed to press down on everyone in the room.
The room seemed to shrink, the shadows deepening, pressing in on them with a palpable weight. It felt as though the walls were closing in, trapping them in their own web of secrets. The candle flame danced wildly, casting grotesque shapes on the walls, and the air grew heavy, thick with a miasma that clung to their throats. The once comforting glow of the candle now seemed sinister, its light revealing more than it concealed.
I lied about where I was last night. The admission was met with a collective intake of breath, the tension in the room ratcheting up another notch.
They took turns, their voices tight with a mixture of fear and morbid fascination. Each confession seemed to peel back another layer of their souls, exposing the raw, unvarnished truth beneath. Each whispered confession seemed to crack open the room a little further, allowing something unseen to seep into the fragile space they occupied. It was as if their words were summoning a presence, something dark and ancient that had been waiting for just such an invitation.
I wish my brother would just disappear. The words were barely a whisper, but they carried a weight that seemed to reverberate through the room.
The temperature plummeted, a bone-chilling cold that seemed to emanate from the very walls. It was as if the room itself was reacting to their confessions, growing colder and more oppressive with each passing moment. The shadows writhed, twisting into monstrous shapes that seemed to watch them with malevolent intent. The once familiar room had become a place of nightmares, where every shadow held a lurking threat.
I don't want to play anymore. The voice was small, almost childlike, filled with a desperate plea to end the game that had gone horribly wrong.
A low hum vibrated through the air, barely audible at first but growing steadily louder. It was a sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, filling the room with an unsettling resonance. The hair on their arms stood on end, and a prickling sensation crawled across their skin. It was as if the very air was charged with a malevolent energy, a force that was growing stronger with each passing second. The room was no longer just a room, it was a conduit, a summoning circle for something ancient and evil. The walls seemed to pulse with a dark energy, and the air was thick with the scent of decay. Malevolent entity, you have summoned me, and now you must face the consequences. The voice was deep and resonant, filled with a malevolent glee that sent shivers down their spines. They were about to learn that some games are not meant to be played, for the darkness they had invited in was far more than they had bargained for. The room seemed to close in on them, the shadows growing darker and more oppressive as they realized the true cost of their actions.